Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Spielberg. It's a glorious sunny day here at the Red Bull Ring, and we are getting ready for the second race of the weekend for the Porsche Carrera Cup. There you see the car of Leon Kohler, the number 77 Porsche, who had a good day of racing yesterday and starts just somewhere in the front part of the grid here at the Red Bull Ring today. So we had a great race yesterday. Lots of interesting stuff, including a fairly major incident that saw a red flag brought out. We'll talk some more about that shortly. But I'm just going to very quickly introduce to you Lars Kern, the Porsche man, is alongside me in the commentary today. Good morning, Lars. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you. Welcome to everybody. Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm looking forward to a great race. It looks promising.
It does. Yes, it looks promising. We're just going to have a quick listen down on track.
Exactly. Within 1 minute, it's going to be pit exit. It's going to be green, and 29 cars. So 2 cars less compared to yesterday. So Jean-Baptiste Simenauer and Tim Zimmermann, who have been in the crash yesterday, they will not be on the grid today. But Michael Ammermüller, who was in an incident as well yesterday, he's back and he's on pole for today.
Brilliant. Thank you, Lars. We've got Lars here who's able to translate some of the interviews and the additional commentary today, which is really good to have. So thank you for that. And the cars are now pulling out onto the grid. As Lars already mentioned, yesterday we had a major incident, and the Jean-Baptiste Simenauer car in particular looking very much the worst of the wear. We think potentially a written-off car. He got T-boned and collected by Tim Zimmermann and also Lucas Oertel, who Lucas Oertel's actually managed to make it back out of the grid today, which is great news.
Yeah, exactly. Was quite a big incident. I thought it's going to be 3 chassis for these guys. So it seems like Lucas Oertel was pretty lucky, or his mechanics have been pretty busy.
They've been burning the midnight oil as we see the cars come round to form up the grid. So Michael Ammermüller, as Lars has mentioned, starts on pole position. Before we do all that, though, we're just going to have a little look at some of the events from yesterday. Let's take a look at the video. And as you can see, it was pole sitter Larry ten Voorde and Dylan Pereira who managed a really good start, and Julian Andlauer who hooked onto the tail of the car in front of Julian Andlauer. We were on board there with Luca Rettenbacher, and the cars came up. You could see how close the competition was, but then we had this very, very big incident that we just talked about, and that was Jean-Baptiste Simenauer spinning, but then he kept his foot on the accelerator, came back onto the track, collected by Tim Zimmermann there, and Luca Oertel as well, and that brought out the red flags, and the race was brought to a stop, and you could just see it was utter carnage out on the track. So we had a long break and time to repair the cars, not repair those cars, but to get the cars, prepare the cars and get them back onto the track. We went green again, and Larry ten Voorde just disappeared off into the distance, and the drivers behind wondering what on earth they have to do to catch this man. Behind, we saw Dylan Pereira putting the heat onto Julian Andlauer for P2. Julian Andlauer initially was on the tail of Larry ten Voorde, but got 2 wheels onto the dirt and slipped a long way back, leaving Dylan Pereira to pick up the P2 position. and tried to pressure Larry ten Voorde, but Larry ten Voorde utterly dominant. And Luther Redenbacher, who came through into P3 with a very mature drive, just keeping it all together and avoiding many of the incidents. So it was a great race, and we saw Redenbacher passing Henrik Skog right before the finish line there. So that was a spectacular race yesterday, and there we see the Lea Kohler car on the grid, ready to go for today's race. So the sun is shining here at the Red Bull Ring, and we are getting ready to go racing. Back down to the grid with our commentator.
They're asking how boring it is for him now, always winning. Yeah, they just ask what they have to do to change something on this boring situation with him, with him winning, and he replied, "It's on you guys to do something."
Yes.
And yeah, now they're talking about turn one. What we discussed yesterday, that at the start it's allowed to use the white line to go off track, just to avoid an incident.
Yeah.
And yeah, so he's quite confident for the start, and yeah, he's like, okay, if there's something in turn one, I can go wide, or there's enough space for everybody.
Brilliant. Thank you for your interpretation of that. So that was Thomas Volkmar down on the track, and there was Lars in the commentary position with me, translating Larry ten Voorde's comments, showing my poor grasp of the German language, I'm afraid. We look there at the Julian Andlauer car, and he starts P4 on the grid, and we're looking forward to see what he can do from there. We were just chatting about him. He made that mistake yesterday where he got a couple of wheels on the dirt and dropped back, but you were saying he's a driver who's definitely one to watch up and coming in this series.
Definitely. I mean, yesterday he showed with the fastest lap of the race that he has the pace. He was just not... I mean, he was a little bit too much on fire when he came up to Larry ten Voorde. I think 1 or 2 laps more of a waiting and trying to find a good opportunity to overtake would have been the smarter move.
Yeah.
But he went for it immediately.
Inexperience, I guess.
Young.
Young and inexperienced. How can you zone the back off? We're looking here at the Luca Rettenbacher car as he came through into third place. And he had a great battle there with Henrik Skog, didn't he?
Yeah, we discussed this yesterday. He was always putting pressure on Henrik Skog, and then he finally made the mistake in the second last corner. So it was really good for Rettenbacher and also Köhler, who went through as well.
Yeah.
And being the fastest rookie on P4, this was pretty strong.
Yeah. Good, and it's all about maturity and holding it together, and that's what we were saying about Julian Andlauer. Right, we're back down onto the grid with Luca Rettenbacher at the moment. And you can hear the voice of Thomas Volkmar once again. In fact, it's with Leon Kohler, I do apologise.
Yeah, he's just saying that he was also pretty lucky with a fight between Skog and Rettenbacher in front of him, that he could make it around Skog as well. And his target is being on the podium. So yeah, that's quite something, because he's coming back from P8. So yeah, let's see if he can make it.
And one of the things that we've been discussing about this series is just how competitive it actually is. And in some series, starting from P8, you'd think, yeah, I can get up to the front. But here, P8 is a long way back, isn't it?
Yeah, I think normally when we discuss the win, we have to look at the first 3-4 cars, and yeah, let's see what Michael Ammermüller says. No.
No, we're still
it's
on Leon Kohler.
I'm sorry, I missed that. wrong screen.
I don't think we were too busy talking to hear what he had to say. We got something more interesting to say. So Leon Kohler there, and then we just see another. It really was a spectacular crash, and all credit to the construction of these cars that there were no injuries. As far as I'm aware, everybody walked away from it fine, and but I guess these cars are made to crumple to protect the driver, and the net result of that is that we're missing 2 cars from the grid today as a result of that incident.
Yeah, you see nasty crashes all around the world of Cup cars, but it's always the same. The guys jump out, and I mean, chassis gone, but everybody's okay.
Yeah.
So these cars are really, really safe, and yeah, that's super.
That's just great, isn't it? And the question everybody's asking is, what on earth have we got to do to catch this man, Larry ten Voorde? Utter dominance. So he has competed in 5 races this year, 4 of which he has won, and his worst result being a P2. I mean, what was he thinking, getting a P2 in Most? And, you know, people are asking, what have we got to do to catch him? And you were saying that maybe Ammermüller and Andlauer have got a bit of a plan to try and mug him.
I would put my money on Andlauer for today.
Right.
I think he's on it.
That's a euro on the table for that one. So we're getting ready. You can see the 30-second board is up. The tension is building here as we get ready to go racing on race 2 of the Porsche Carrera Cup, the German series here at the Red Bull Ring in Austria. It is an utter joy to be here in the sunshine. This track, which is 4.3 kilometers around, has 10 corners, 7 to the right, 3 to the left, and has a significant amount of elevation change in it, 65 meters change in elevation throughout the circuit, and particularly into turns 1 and 3, which are fairly steep uphill. Into turn 3 is a proper climb up there. You can hear the roar as 29 Porsche 911s roar into life, disappearing off the grid and getting ready on the formation lap. Now, we discussed this yesterday, but the risk of repeating ourselves, this is not just a lap of tootling around looking at the scenery, is it?
No, not at all. The car without ABS and traction control and everything is pretty hard to drive, and the tires and brakes have to be on temperature. So you're going to see the guys waving a lot, especially with the front now at the beginning of the lap and on the middle of the lap, and especially when they come into the grid, you see the guys revving the engines and just spinning the rear wheels just to build up temperature in the rears. But you have to stop that at some point, like just when you come into the grid, not overheat the rear. Yeah. So that's always something, a routine you bring in to warm your. But these guys, all of them are so experienced with that stuff. They're all gonna be all right. And as we mentioned yesterday, there's quite a procedure for the start. What limits the RPMs when revving the engines. So we're gonna see quite similar starts. As we've seen yesterday. I mean, you still can see differences because you go into the clutch a little bit, where the clutch bites, you keep it there, and then you go out. But the best thing is to have just a little bit of spinning rear wheels, and these would be the perfect start. But it's like, you have 5 good starts, you have 5 not so good starts. That's the way it is.
Good, that's a great insight into that formation lap. Thank you for that. You saw the grid just come to the screen there. So Michael Ammermüller on pole position with Larry ten Voorde alongside Dylan Pereira and Julian Andlauer. Our leading rookie is Leon Kohler, who we've already seen some pictures of. He's starting in P8. And our leading AM category driver is Carlos Rivas, and he's starting back in P20. So we're going to have an eye on them as well. The Lederhosen are out in force. I didn't put mine on today, you'd be pleased to know. So coming into the the pit straight ready to form on the grid for this start. We believe that turn 1 is going to be a significant turn in this race today.
Yes, I think, but I mean, everybody's going to prepare a good exit, and I think the focus for most of the guys is turn 3 up the hill. We've seen a lot of overtakings into turn 3 and out of turn 3 yesterday. So yeah. Let's see.
Yeah.
All cars lining up.
Brilliant. It's very exciting, and we're really looking forward to this race. Waiting for the roar of these Porsche 911s. It is just something to behold, and if you've never witnessed this live, I would encourage you to come along to one of these events because they are spectacular. There's Larry ten Voorde. Can he make it 5 out of 6? That is the question that we're asking. Dylan Pereira there. He's starting P3. All eyes are looking ahead. We're waiting for the man with the green flag. He waves it to say we are all ready to go racing. Waiting for those 5 lights to go off. 3, 4, 5, and we are racing. And Mikael Ammermuller straight off the line, but Larry ten Voorde once again has made a rocket start, and it's ten Voorde who's leading into turn 1 just, but Ammermuller coming back on the outside. Dylan Pereira there looking now. Ammermuller's fighting back, and is Ammermuller into the lead with Dylan Pereira looking inside Larry ten Voorde. The 3 of them are absolutely glued together up the hill into turn 3. We have a 3 abreast. Cars coming round.
Yeah, now Julien Andlauer did the mega job, just overtook 2 guys. Now he's trying the side draft on 1040. And let's see if he can make it around the outside in turn 4. I don't think so. Normally 1040 should go back to the front again, and he has to take care of Pereira as well. But yeah, great job.
I mean, this is exactly what you predicted.
Yeah.
What you predicted. This is what we knew we were going to see. And he's coming back at him again, isn't he? So Julien Andlauer looking very, very racy indeed. And the first 4 cars kind of breaking away slightly as we see some more jostling for position further back in the pack. But Mikael Ammermuller has already opened up a bit of a gap, hasn't he?
Yeah, quite a strong performance. And Julien Andlauer is really on the tail of 1040, so yeah, watch out, turn 3 in the next lap.
So as a Porsche driver, you're riding on board with Julien Andlauer just then. What have you got to do now? Where is your position to make that jump on Larry ten Voorde?
Yeah, you just hold back a little bit in turn 1, focus on a perfect exit.
It's going wide,
exactly.
It's going to the top, yeah.
That's perfect because Larry is going to have a bad exit now. Julien got a better exit. And he's already next to him. Yeah.
Great.
And I'm pretty sure Julien will make it for P2 now.
So, that's it. So the Lechmer Racing team are getting very punchy here after a fairly disappointing day yesterday. And now the number 3 car, Dylan Pereira, as Larry ten Voorde goes really wide there into the corner. And coming back at Julien Andlauer. But did he exceed track limits then?
Yes, maybe he took a little bit of an advantage of going wide, but now it's going to be Julien Andlauer time, and Pereira Pereira go through as well.
So this is the first time we've seen a chink in the Larry ten Voorde armour this year. So P4, whoever thought that we could see him down that low? It's Mikael Ammermuller who is now leading this race, and the Lechmer Racing team are doing a fantastic job at the front here. We're looking back at the Dylan Pereira car, and we can just see how closely matched these cars are. So here we have a replay. Tell us, this is a replay, something different. So,
Jackson Evans got spun into turn 3.
And he's someone who's having a very disappointing weekend, isn't he, Jackson?
He's a Porsche Junior, but it's his first time here on the Red Bull Ring. So for him, it's seems to be pretty tough this weekend. A lot of track limits here. Yeah,
and we've just seen it there. Cars going over that yellow sausage curb. Is that's the track limit, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And but pretty strong result for the moment for Lechner. 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
Pereira looks strong behind Julien Andlauer.
Yeah.
But just coming back to the overtaking of Julien, I mean, he pushed Ten a little bit wide, opened the door for Carrera.
Yeah.
So this was, I think he's gonna get €5 extra from Mark Lechner after that.
was this planned?
It was a pretty smart move.
So what would be the approach amongst the Lechner drivers as we see Dylan Pereira taking a look on the inside of Julian Andlauer? I presume that they are to be a little less aggressive with each other than they might be with Ten Voorde.
I think so as well. Otherwise, they're going to have a word with Walter Lechner. Here we have him. After the race.
Serious.
Exactly. But as we said yesterday, maybe it's also a reason of tire pressures. Maybe Julien started a little lower, focusing on the end of the race, and Pereira and Ammermüller look pretty strong now for the beginning. So yeah, let's see.
We could see cars coming on as the race goes through, and we see that the car 99 receiving a drive-through penalty. That's Alex Arkin-Acker for a jump start. So did not see that on screen. So Alex Arkin-Acker receiving a drive-through penalty for that. So that's bad news for Alex Arkin-Acker, who is currently, just looking to see where he is. P15. So,
yeah, but pretty strong performance by Nicolas Schürl, who's on the tail of Arca at the moment. He came from P23 and is now on P16. So yeah, that's pretty strong.
Yeah, good progress. Yeah. And Jaap van Lagen, who's posting some purple sectors in sector 1 as well. We're just looking at our timing screen. So. It's Heinrich Skoog. So I'm looking at the line below. Heinrich Skoog, that's my dodgy eyes for you. Heinrich Skoog. Now, he was a driver who was very impressive yesterday as well. He's currently in P8. As we look, still looking back and just see how closely matched this is here. So we're looking back at, which car is that we're looking back at?
Nick Schürl.
Nick Schürl, yes.
Nick Schürl in front of Richard Wagner. I think Nick Schürl just got overtaken by Berkay Besler, also rookie driver. And so there we have 3 rookies fighting each other, Arkin-Acker, Berkay Besler and Nick Schürl. And now Richard Wagner is joining as well. But Arkin-Acker has to come in for
drive-through.
Exactly, for the drive-through. And we see Jackson Evans in the pits. Yeah. So it seems like race is over for him.
Yeah, and when a drive-through in the Kurs Carrera Cup is going to be a bit of a killer as well in terms of scoring points. Just looking at our leading rookie, Leon Kohler, is up in P6, so he's doing a great job, isn't he? I mean, he's well ahead of the other rookies, and Dylan Pereira, who is now lapping, and you just pointed that out to me, who's in P3. Dylan Pereira, as we see Nicole Skull making a move on the inside in the number 22 car. But Dylan Pereira is the fastest man on the track at the moment. He's lying in P3, and he clearly is not settling for that P3 and has eyes on the next position. It's 1, 2, 3 for Lechner Racing here at the Red Bull Ring on a Sunday afternoon, and we're looking down at a number of battles here. Riding on board with Luca Rettenbacher.
Yeah, we see that. It seems like Igor Valenko is just, it seems like he's not having the pace at the moment, and Leon Köhler and Luca Rettenbacher are all over him. And I mentioned it yesterday, 6 and 7, there's no place to overtake. We see it again. You can just overtake if somebody else makes a big mistake, but again, Rettenbacher and Köhler.
You see him making the move there on the outside. No, it doesn't make a stick. I'm guessing that on a track such as this, that you are able just to make your Porsche 911 very, very wide, as we see him locking the brakes, going up and behind him there. You can make your Porsche just very wide, even when you don't have the pace. You can still hold that position.
Yeah, and I mean, for the guys behind him, that's pretty bad, because they just missed the rear of Larry 1040 and the guys in front of them. So they really have to go past him now. Otherwise, they're gone.
Yeah. And with the race now over 1/3 distance, and we see the number 77 car again of Leon Kohler taking a look on the outside of Evan Waliko. So now onto the inside. Talk us through what he's going to be doing now.
Yeah, he was using the side draft, which you have when you're really next to the car, Wow, and now he lost 2 positions.
Good driving.
Yeah, Valiko opened the door quite a little bit too much for Köhler, and then Rettenbacher just went through as well. So really strong performance for the both teammates of the MSG team. So I think now they're going to move forward.
You say Waliko opened the door. Do you actually feel as though he succumbed to the pressure rather than just made a mistake?
Yeah, it was just he's not having the pace at the moment. You see it immediately. The gap opens. Rettenbacher and Köhler, they can just move away. So yeah.
And here we are again, looking back.
Yeah, Skog was really close on the tail of Rettenbacher.
Yeah.
Touched him a little bit.
Just a little.
Exactly. Just exactly. Here you see he just opened the door again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they're through, and don't need a second invitation to get through there, do they?
No.
We look back there on a replay of that. So, with 7 of the 17 laps, we are in the most beautiful setting here at the Red Bull Ring, nestled in amongst the mountains. And it's Mikael Ammermuller who leads this race from Julian Andlauer, Dylan Pereira, and the runaway championship leader, Larry ten Voorde in P4. But just pointing out that the fastest man on the track is now Julian Andlauer, lapping in a 1:31.501. Which is marginally quicker than Mikael Ammermuller, who has the open track in front of him.
Yeah, it's going to be quite interesting. Seems like Julien has the pace now. So yeah, I'm quite curious how it's going to be between Ammermuller and Andlauer, but I'm pretty sure he's going for the win.
Yeah, and as we've said already, when you're running for the same team, making serious contact is not an option.
Normally not, no. But both of these guys go for the championship, and they're here for winning the championship.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to see some proper battles at the end of the race.
And we just saw from the on-screen graphic there that Rettenbacher closing in on Kohler, who is in 5th place. So both of those drivers are looking very, very good here this afternoon. And I think that the top 6 places are all really up for grabs here, aren't they? And really, having got past Ivan Baliko, those top 6 drivers are starting to kind of close up on each other a bit. So we see going up into turn 1. Up the hill, looking back at the impressive field of cars. The quickest man on the track is still Julian Andlauer in P2. He's putting in some very quick times, 3/10 quicker than Mikael Ammermuller on that last lap. So he's definitely signaling his intentions.
Yeah, now he's back 0.8 seconds. So that means now he's going to end up in the slipstream of Michael. And this will help him again to close the gap. So yeah, I think he's on a mission now.
And Dylan Pereira, although he is 1.3 seconds behind Andlauer, he has still got plans on that P2 place as well. As we carry on with this race, we look at the number 33 car, Stefan Redkopf, for Über Racing. And he is currently down in 22nd place, having been passed by Sebastian Down. You see the cars just using all the track, and once again you see those yellow sausages of the track limits as Carlos Rivas there on screen, and he is our leading AM driver down in P15.
Yeah, being P15 overall in a Carrera Cup race as an M driver, this is quite something. So
is that good, is it?
Yes. I mean, he's fighting with pro drivers around him, so pretty strong what he does, and quite a lot of margin to Stefan Redkopf, who's back in P22. So yeah, really strong by Carlos Rivas.
So I'm guessing that Carlos Rivas will be his intention would be to maybe look for a pro drive at a later stage by showing his true colours here in this race, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, he's showing that he can really fight with the pro drivers, and I mean, all of these guys, they are like 40 plus, so that's pretty special. Started racing pretty late, so bronze rated. So yeah, being there and fighting with top professional drivers, that's quite something.
That's good to do. Yeah. We're riding on board there with Berke Besler, and you could just get an idea of what it looked like from his perspective on board that car. So we are over half distance already. This race is melting by, it has to be said. Lap 9 of 17 as we see the Carlos Rivas car that we were just talking about. Really impressive, and that's the car 17 of Lucas Oertel, who's parked up, and don't know what's happened there. Lucas Oertel, of course, he was the one that was involved in that incident yesterday, and you can see him just going straight on. Now that looks like he just overcooked it into the corner.
It looks like the front right was no pressure in there anymore. But now we see Julian Andlauer closing the gap to 0.4 seconds on Müller. So he's quicker every lap, and as I mentioned, now he's in the slipstream. So now we're going to see some proper battles.
So this is going to be very, very interesting. We are watching this one very, very eagerly. And just while we do that, we're riding on board with Julian Andlauer, looking at the back of the Michael Ammermuller car and just using everything he can to close that gap up. It says on our timing screens 0.4 of a second, but I think it's less than that now, because that was when they passed the start-finish line last. And look at him coming into the corner here. What's he going to be thinking?
Now he was just thinking, oh, okay, it's yellow here. Because
yes,
I cannot overtake here.
Yeah, got it.
Exactly. But now he's just preparing everything, just scanning Ammermuller where he's better, or where he's having a better corner or a better exit, so he can prepare an overtaking maneuver, because I think he learned from yesterday. There he was a little bit too much in a rush, trying to get past 10.4 there. If you look into his eyes, he seems pretty relaxed. So yeah, let's see what he does.
Right, well, here we go then, lining him up and just picking that moment, and as we said, not making that mistake he made yesterday. If you remember, he got two wheels onto the dirt and dropped like a stone, and you're pointing out...
Now it's going to be maybe
two tenths. Yeah, sorry, we're just looking at the timing screens, and that's an interesting mix there. There was a little the ghost of Burke Bursler. As they cross the line, we see that there are another 2 tenths he's taken out of it. That gap is getting ever closer. Surely it's only a matter of time before he makes the move.
Yeah, he's already trying to make Ammermuller move to the inside, just to get a better exit. He's not moving at the moment. Let's see how it's going to be in the next lap. For turn 4, it's still yellow, I think. Is it? No yellow flag anymore.
No, that's the Lucas Oertel car that had to be moved out of the way.
It's still yellow.
It is still yellow.
Yeah.
This is a driver who can spot these things. I can see it yellow. So
we don't want to see it, but we have to see it.
Yes, we certainly don't. And poor old Lucas Oertel, he was involved, the innocent bystander in that Jean-Baptiste Simonauer crash yesterday, and received damage and had another race now that he's retired from. So a bad weekend for him, but a great weekend for the BWT Lechner racing team. The boss is looking slightly nervous as their cars are 1, 2 and 3 in this race, and 1 and 2 in particular. It was 2 tenths separating them the last time around. We're going to have a look at the timing screens and see whether that has changed. It looks very, very similar as we see the Gustav Mallier car going slowly, and looks like he's able to power it out of harm's way, so hopefully not a safety car required. But the gap is down to 0.27, so that's not a lot in my reckoning, and you can see on the screen how close they are, and Michael Ammermuller just needs to make the smallest mistake and Julian Andlauer is going to be through. And here he is again, looking to the inside, looking to the outside, on the hill, onto the inside.
Little lock up by Ammermuller when going into the corner, and yeah, that's it.
So that was the mistake that we were waiting for. What was that? Just looked like debris flying up then. But the two cars running side by side, but it's Andlauer who has the inside line and takes the lead. So is Julian Andlauer. Takes the lead from Michael Ammermuller, who drops back into P2. Now it will be interesting to see what the gap is going to become between those two, whether Michael Ammermuller can fight back, or whether he is going to fall into the clutches of Dylan Pereira, who is loitering in P3 and has had a relatively quiet race, but clearly is not content to settle for P3. We're looking on board here. Tell us again, what do you think Julian Andlauer was thinking?
Yeah, I mean, he was just happy that Michael just missed the apex a little bit, just locked the front right. You see a little bit of smoke coming out, and then he just put it in, and yeah, from there on he already knew, okay, I made it, because he was on the better line.
Yeah.
He just put it in. And I think then he was just hoping for not having a yellow flag into turn 4.
Yes.
Because the lap before we had a yellow flag, but now we see already Andlauer, he can move away a little bit.
Yeah, he's got, and in fact, Dylan Pereira closing up. Do you think that lockup from Ammermuller was just something that comes to you looking more in the mirrors than at the track in front of you?
It's possible for sure. Because he was staying on the normal racing line, which was quite risky because Andlauer was close enough to go to the inside.
Yeah.
Maybe he thought he's going to the inside and was just a little bit confused.
Yeah.
And then he made this little mistake and Andlauer went past. And
But Julian Andlauer, although he has a 3/10 lead at the moment, he only needs to make a similar kind of mistake, and Mikael Ammermuller is going to be back. In the meantime, as you can see from your screens there, Dylan Pereira is rapidly joining the party, and he is about half a second, 6/10 or so behind Mikael Ammermuller. And Dylan Pereira looking the quicker of the two of them, it has to be said. A proper party for BWT Lechner Racing. Can they keep it as a 1, 2, 3 all the way to the checkered flag? Dylan Pereira has got his eyes on another position as he lines up Mikael Ammermuller for that P2 position. Julian Andlauer has now pulled out 6/10.677 over Mikael Ammermuller, and Dylan Pereira just 4/10 behind Mikael Ammermuller. So Pereira definitely looking like a man on the move.
it's 3 laps to go. I think if Ammermuller stays without mistakes, he's going to stay in second position. But yeah, definitely Dylan Pereira will put pressure on him. And yeah, let's see.
And in the meantime, that man who has not finished below P2 this year, Larry ten Voorde, in a relatively lowly P4. And we haven't seen anything of him today, and he's just pretty well out on his own on the track at the moment. It's those top 3. You see Larry ten Voorde there in the background, enjoying a fairly lonely race, and his run of P1s and P2s possibly coming to an end here, providing the BWT Lechner Racing trio can keep it all on the tarmac and keep it together. At the moment, Julian Andlauer looking very, very strong indeed. Not putting a wheel wrong, unlike yesterday, when we have a car again off the track, the number 10 car, Matthias Jeserik. Oh, and a bit of a tank slapper going on there. And he is one of our AM drivers down in 23rd place, and will have no doubt picked up a lot of gravel. We see what happened. He just outbraked himself.
Pretty late,
yeah. That's again quite lucky. I'm presuming he's keeping the power on so that he doesn't get bogged down in the gravel. Because I imagine the moment you let it go too slow, you're just going to get beached, aren't you?
Exactly. He's trying just to get out of there as fast as possible.
He got airborne.
Sliding on back to the track. That's pretty risky to come back to the track like this.
And that's what we saw yesterday with Jean-Baptiste Simonal, because he spun, kept his foot on it, came back across the track, and caused that monumental accident, of course. So yes, a lively bit of off-roading there. Our fastest, our leading rookie is Leon Kohler. And look at this, going over those sausage curves. Sorry, just now that is, I would say that all of those are exceeding track limits, aren't they?
No, you are allowed to go on yellow, but not over yellow.
So not with all 4 wheels, just 2 wheels.
If you drop 1 wheel on the red, it's a track limit.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. So they really are playing it close to the mark, though, aren't they? Yes, 5th place, P5, Leon Kohler. He's our leading rookie, and doing a fantastic job in P5 ahead of Luca Redenbacher. And Carlos Rivas in P15, our leading AM driver. Again, very, very spectacular. There you see our front 3, and they have broken clear of Larry ten Voorde in P4. It's Julian Andlauer who leads the way. He has 6/10, very, very nearly 7/10 over Mikael Ammermuller. Mikael Ammermuller has 7/10 over Dylan Pereira, so fairly even gaps between them. And you can see Mikael Ammermuller just locking a wheel going into that very difficult turn one. And Dylan Pereira looking like he is winding himself up again for another attack on that P2 position. So we see him closing in there as 94 car of Jan Fitch comes into the Jan, that should be, shouldn't it? Jan Fitch, me and my dodgy pronunciation. He's clearly got a problem, so he's into the pits. He was in 25th position, and it looks like his afternoon is over. You can just see from his eyes that he's probably a little bit fed up to be stuck in the pit lane. He exits the car, and that's one less on track for the remainder of this race. We are on lap 16 of 17 here, and there's our leader coming over the hill. The hot sunshine. Has Dylan Pereira got anything left for Mikael Ammermuller, or is this the order they're going to finish in?
I think that's it. It's now we go into the last lap. You see Dylan Pereira fighting really, really hard to come closer, but Ammermuller found his rhythm again, and I think he's going to stay in P2. And yeah, it's good. Good afternoon for Lechner Racing.
Yes.
Also good afternoon for the championship.
Yes, because
just bringing these guys back a little bit.
Yeah, just a bit. We're on to the final lap now. It's lap 17 of 17, and it's a 1-2-3 for BWT Lechner Racing. All they've got to do is keep it on the grey stuff and bring it home. And Dylan Pereira still working so hard to close in on Mikael Ammermuller, but not actually making any great strides into that P2 position. We're looking back from Julian Andlauer there, and we can just see that gap. We're on the final lap. He can pretty well sniff the champagne now. He is that close. And we're just into the second section of the track, coming into turn 6. And the cars are just well spaced out, and the BWT bosses at Lechner Racing getting ready for what will hopefully be quite a party in that team. There you see Julian Andlauer just coming through into the final sequence of corners, round turn 8 and in towards turn 9, under braking. Looking back at him there, looking back at Mikael Ammermuller, going quite wide out of that corner, but he's got it all well under control. He comes onto the home straight, he sees the check flag, and it is a win for Julian Andlauer, with Mikael Ammermuller in second, Dylan Pereira in P3, and Larry ten Voorde P4, with Leon Kohler, and brilliant drivers are leading rookie in P5 from Luca Redenbacher in the 92 car, who comes home in P6. So even Valiko, P7, and Henrik Skog in P8. A really good race there, and a proper display of total dominance from the BWT Lechner team, don't you think?
Yeah, I think compared to yesterday, where they had the pace, but were just unlucky. And yeah, for them today is a perfect afternoon. And as I said, for the championship, this is really important. Congratulations to Julien. I think also yesterday he showed that he has the pace for the win.
Yes.
Yeah, and he did it today. So really, really nice.
And I'm guessing Jean-Baptiste Simoneau must be looking on at his compatriots with their 1-2-3 and just feeling immensely frustrated after yesterday.
Yeah, for sure. He was having the same weapon.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, and lost it in turn 4 yesterday. Bad for him, because he was having a pretty good qualifying. He's a young guy. Yeah. So, yeah.
But he'll learn from that and come back stronger, won't he?
And
and we will see him at the front of the grid, I've no doubt, soon. So, once again, silence descends on the Red Bull ring. There's your official result. Julian Andlauer taking the first of a 1-2-3 for BWT Lechner. Mikael Ammermuller, Dylan Pereira at the first 3. Then Larry ten Voorde, Leon Kohler, Luca Redenbacher, Igor Veliko, and Henrik Skog bringing at the top 8. Tony Wolff and Jaap van Lagen in 9th and 10th, followed by David Kolkman, Berke Besler, Sandro Kaibach, and Nicolas Skoll. Carlos Rivas did a great job coming home in P15 as our leading AM driver, with Louis Henkefend also doing pretty well to finish 16th from the back of the grid. Richard Wagner and Sebastian Daum with Reese Barr, Stefan Redkop, Filip Saga, Georgi Donchev, Andrzej Szczepanski, and Matthias Jezerik bringing up the other places. You see the rest of the results there flashing up on your screen. Larry ten Voorde's championship lead will still be pretty immense, but they've closed it a little bit. There we go, 123 points, Larry ten Voorde. But Julian Andlauer with 77.5 points into P2. Dylan Pereira with 63 points, and Mikael Ammermuller in 4th. Henrik Skog in 5th place. And that's the rest of your places there of the Kurs Carrera Cup Championship.
Yeah, it's the first time that ten Voorde is not on the podium in this year, and it's 45.5 points between Andlauer and ten Voorde. And yeah, it seemed like Lechner Racing was unbeatable today. Michael Ammermuller looks not too happy. I think if you start on pole, if you lead the race for 10 laps and you don't win, that's normal.
And what's he saying? Yes.
He just said there was a little bit, Julio was having a little bit of better traction, and he said there was no point of fighting back. He was not having the pace to manage that, so he's okay with P2, but as you can see, he's not
okay with P2 at all, is he?
But he knows he's that professional. He knows that was the maximum he can do today.
Yeah.
So it was smart just to keep P2, and that's it.
Right.
They're discussing if he still wants to fight for the championship, but he explains that he wasn't planned for the full season.
Really?
He was planned to do the full season Super Cup, where he leads the championship,
Okay.
but he wasn't planned to do the full season, so he doesn't know if he will finish the full season, but yeah.
Great, thank you for that. That's really good to hear what was being said there. So we're just now waiting for the podium positions as we reflect on Julian Andlauer winning race 2 of the Porsche Carrera Cup, heading home a 1-2-3 for BWT Lechner Racing.
Yes, congratulations to him. I think the Euro is in my pocket now.
Damn it! If only I had a euro on me. You take cards. So I think interviews are about to be done down there. We can see those 3 BWT Lechner cars there, and we look at this gorgeous track in the sunshine. Good, those sausages a bit of a sweet, why don't you? And we're getting ready. We've got lots of racing on here this weekend. It has been a fabulous weekend so far, and the Porsche Carrera Cup has been pretty spectacular from beginning to end. So we've really enjoyed watching and commentating on those this weekend. So we're just waiting now for the podium presentation and just reflecting on the BWT Lechner 1-2-3. Here's the boss.
He's just saying that, or they were asking if he's going to put a poster with the 3 pink drivers of the podium, and he just replied that he's going to give it to the sponsor, and he's going to ask for an increase of the sponsorship.
ever the businessman, eh?
Exactly. I mean, BWT is an Austrian company, so Lechner is an Austrian team, so for them it's, yeah.
So to get
it's
a 1-2-3 here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Abwarten, aber ich würde einmal so sagen, das nächste Rennen findet in Bayern statt und das kann man mal
Yeah, they were just discussing if Michael Lammermüller will proceed at the championship, and he just replied that in the next race is going to be in Bavaria, and Michael Lammermüller is a Bavarian guy, so he said for sure he's going to do that one.
Exactly. Stop it. Yeah.
And after that, they're going to think about it again. Yeah, he's a little bit complaining about yesterday that he wasn't too happy with his drivers yesterday, with the crash of Simenauer and the mistake of Andlauer, and I mean there was a lot of on the table yesterday for Lechner, and they haven't delivered at all.
Yeah.
And I mean that's why he said, or he thought, or he hoped that today they're gonna do better, and yeah, they did.
Do you think there might have been some serious conversations over the dinner table last night?
That's possible. Yes.
So anything else interesting there, or was that just pleasantries?
It was just pleasantries. He was discussing who's going up to the podium representing BWT Lechner Racing. Yeah, and it's Father's Day today in Austria, so
really?
he's saying hello to all fathers out there.
Wonderful. Well, as you can see, the Red Bull circuit looking glorious. It has been an absolute privilege to be here. Wonderful setting, a gorgeous circuit, lovely facilities. We've all been very welcomed by the locals as well. And it has been a truly great weekend so far. The weather has not disappointed. I was here 5 weeks ago for another event and it got snowed off. The meeting got abandoned on the Sunday because of heavy snow. So 5 weeks can bring a lot of changes. We're knocking on the door of 30 degrees centigrade up here today. Yeah. It's so good to be back here at the Red Bull Ring. It has been really, really good. We've still got lots of racing left here this afternoon, but that's it for the Porsche Carrera Cup, although we've still got the podium presentations to come, which we hope to be bringing you very, very shortly indeed. As you can see, it's a big crowd in here today. Many thousands of people have packed into this Red Bull Ring to enjoy the sunshine. So, we're now just waiting for the podium presentation. Just while we have a gap, I'm just going to say to Lars, thank you for joining us today, because yesterday and today it's been so good to have your insight into it's a whole different perspective to hear from a driver.
It was my first time doing it. It was a lot of fun together with you.
Great, thank you.
Now I wish everybody a lot of fun with the GT Masters race. I think it's going to be a great race again. And yeah, I'm gonna watch it from the grandstand, and yeah,
enjoy it. And then of course you're racing yourself in the GT4 category later this afternoon.
Exactly. We have the last race of the weekend, so yeah, we are pretty at the end, but yeah, we look forward to a nice race.
Yeah. Where are you starting from in that race?
I'm gonna start P5.
Not bad going.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. I think especially in the afternoon conditions with the hot weather, it's going to be pretty tough for us in our little Porsche, fighting with the big cars. But yeah, I'm looking forward. It's always nice to race at the Red Bull Ring.
Yeah.
And yeah, let's see.
We'll look forward to seeing it, and we will be cheering from the sides. Right. So our attention is back onto this now. I think we've just about got some drivers together. There's an awful lot of talking going on. Right, here we go then. These are our 1, 2, 3. You'll have to tell me which one's which. I recognise one of them.
It's Julian. Julian Andlauer on the left.
On the left.
In the middle, it's Dylan Pereira, and on the right, it's Michael Lammermüller.
I might show my inexperience here. I recognise the cars.
And the suits are pretty pink.
Yeah, they are, aren't they? That's looking good in pink. Distinctive and very recognisable around the Porsche Carrera Cup and the ADAC series. Lots of pink cars. So, Some serious faces there.
Yeah, we see Herman Tomczyk, the director of ADAC, Huray Isiak, who's leading the Porsche Carrera Cup. So all the official people up there, and just waiting for the podium ceremony.
Yeah. Which should be getting underway very shortly.
We see our friend Philip Sager, who performed pretty well on the podium yesterday. On our left.
Yes. So, here we go then. Is this it? The tension is killing us. The sun is shining here at the Red Bull Ring, and we're eager to see the champagne spraying. So, someone said something very funny there, so lots of laughter.
Yeah, still, Burkhard Bechtel is just moderating over there. But he's not finding the point at the moment. Seems like.
Looking very hot. It's quite a workout to drive that race, I imagine.
Yeah.
Right, hats on, here we go. Let's get you out on the podium, chaps. Ray, and we're off, here we go. There's our winner, Julian Andlauer. And then Mikael Lammermuller and Dylan Pereira. A 1, 2, 3.
What a picture.
An all-pink podium. Gosh, that's a truly successful home race. That makes up for yesterday a little bit, doesn't it?
Here's the French flag.
Okay, it's time for the national anthem. National anthem done.
Pretty short version.
Yeah, we're running short of time. And now the trophy presentation. And this is the ADAC president, Herman Tomczyk. He must be very happy with the events of this weekend here as he presents the trophy to Julian Andlauer. And Jürgen Fabry, also from the ADC, presenting to Mikael Lammermuller. And to Dylan Pereira, Huray Isiak from Porsche Carrera Cup, presenting the trophies. And they did the photographs after the champagne yesterday. There we go.
He doesn't want to go out. Yeah, what you're saying. He's part of the Lechner racing team since 44 years.
Wow.
So this is, that's pretty special in motorsport.
That is pretty special in any kind of discipline in life. So the four of them there, that is a very Lechner-looking photo, isn't it?
Yep.
Have we seen a 1, 2, 3 from Lechner racing like that in recent times?
I don't think so. That's pretty special.
That's going to be viximisation. I should think that photo is going to be used on publicity shots for a long time to come by BWT Lechner.
There's nothing better for them.
Yeah, I mean...
Home race, 1, 2, 3.
Absolutely brilliant. It's just a shame that Simonau couldn't have been in it as well and made it a 1, 2, 3, 4, I guess. But
you wouldn't see him.
So, soaked in champagne. And someone wants the bottle. Nah. It's hot work down there. It must be such a relief for them. Do you know who that man is?
I don't know.
Oh, wonderful. Did any of it go in his mouth? I don't think so.
It's going to be a long night for these guys.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. No, don't hold much hope out of getting any conversations out of them tomorrow morning. In the eyes, yeah, you had that one coming, mate. Great. Well, it's been a wonderful race. We've really enjoyed that, and both races this weekend. I think the Porsche Carrera Cup put on a really solid display. It was Thomas Preining who dominated this very event last year.
Yep.
This year, we've had two different winners. Whiz, that is good news, isn't it? Larry Tenborder yesterday, and today it was Julian Andlauer. And boy, did he demonstrate a real turn of speed here. So we look at some of the highlights from this race. So there's just a few shots from what was a great morning of racing. So we're now looking back at the podium. Talk us through this one, please, Lars.
Yeah, exactly. We see Carlo Rivas, Stefan Rehkopf and Philipp Sager on the podium for the Amateur Championship. And we listen to the anthem of Luxembourg.
That's it. We were just laughing at the P3 on the podium. Brilliant. What characters? Oh dear. I can see them all laughing in the commentary booth next door as well. So there we go. It's Carlos Rivas collecting his trophy. Brilliant. Trophy's been presented to the 1, 2, 3 in the Rookie Championship, and good to have some entertainment.
Yes, the Amateur Championship. I mean, it's pretty...
The Amateur, sorry.
Exactly, as I said, it's pretty strong. It's pretty something to go into a championship like the Carrera Cup as an amateur, and because you know where you're going to find yourself.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Brave guys. And Carlos Rivas finishing P15, that's pretty strong for an amateur like him. So,
and we will be watching him with great interest for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
You can hear the roar in the background as the ADAC GT Masters cars line up for their second race of the weekend. But as far as the Porsche Carrera Cup goes, it's our time to say goodbye. I just want to say a massive thank you again to Lars Kemp for coming in and being the second voice and the fountain of all knowledge, it has to be said here. Really appreciated, giving us great insight, and good luck with the GT4 this afternoon.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah, have a lot of fun with the race in GT Masters, and yeah, see you next time.
Brilliant, thank you. And thank you to everyone for watching us. We'll see you next time. Take care.